Hello everyone. Me, Ninada MS, and my teammate Kirtana R are working under the guidance of Raghunandan sir, and our project is based on an ultrasonic repeller mounted on an UAV. India stands second largest in having an arable land, but due to increase in menace of birds and animals, farmers of our country are experiencing 30 to 40% loss in their crops annually. Therefore, we have come up with an innovative solution in which a repeller is placed on an autonomous drone. And according to the literature survey that we have done, we have drawn few conclusions. Namely, few systems used static repellers. The main disadvantage of this was that animals or bird species got adjusted to this acoustic sound. And in other few existing systems, chemicals were used which affected the animals, birds, and even humans.
Okay, now I'm going to explain about the methodology. There are three basic stages: frequency generation, amplification, transducer output. In frequency generation, our circuit can produce multiple frequencies, and the frequency produced is fed to the amplifier circuit. It amplifies the signal so that there is no loss due to attenuation. The amplified signal is then given to the transducer. This entire frequency producing circuit is placed on a drone, and it is mounted in such a way that it can produce acoustic sound from any fixed angle. Since our entire system is in motion, it can repel animals, birds, insects from any part of the field, and thereby it outstands the existing systems. The demonstration of the drone and the circuit is shown in the next presentation.
மயில், எலி இது போன்ற அனிமல்ஸ்னால் நமக்கு ரொம்ப விளைச்சல்லாம் ரொம்ப பாதிக்கப்பட்டு நல்லா விளைஞ்சாலும் கூட அந்த அனிமல்ஸ் அதை சாப்பிட்றதுனால அது பார்த்திங்கன்னா மிச்சம் கொடி தான் மிச்சமாக இருக்குது. இங்கே விவசாயிகளுடைய நண்பர்கள் என்று கூறிக்கொள்ளும் இரண்டு அரசுகளுமே சேர்ந்து இந்த விலங்குகளை கட்டுப்படுத்தி எங்களுக்கு வாழ்வாதாரத்தை பாதிக்கப்படாமல் செய்யாமல் இருக்கும்போது உங்களை வேண்டி விரும்பி கேட்டது.
ಈ ಸಮಸ್ಯೆಯಿಂದ ನಮ್ಮ ಎಲ್ಲ ಬೆಳೆಗಳು ಅಂದರೆ ನಾವು ಬೆಳೆದಿರ್ತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಬೆಳೆ ಭತ್ತ ಆಗಿರಬಹುದು, ರಾಗಿ, ಜೋಳ, ಹುರುಳಿ, ಅಡಿಕೆ, ಬಾಳೆ, ಮಾವು ಇತ್ಯಾದಿ ತೆಂಗಿನ ಬೆಳೆ ಸಹಿತ ಬಂದೋಯಿತು. ಎಳನೀರನ್ನು ಸಹಿತ ಕಿತ್ತವೆ. ಇದನ್ನೆಲ್ಲ ಲೆಕ್ಕ ಪರಿಪೂರ್ಣ ಹಾಕಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ಲ. ಆದರೆ ಒಂದು ಅಂದಾಜು ಹೇಳಬೇಕು ಅಂದರೆ ವರ್ಷಕ್ಕೆ ಲಕ್ಷಾಂತರ ರೂಪಾಯಿ ನಷ್ಟವನ್ನು ಕೊಡ್ತಾರೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿನಿಂದ ನಮಗೆ ಉಪಯೋಗವಾಗಿದೆ. ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟಿನಿಂದ ಮಂಗನ್ನು ಹೆದರಿಸಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಸಾಧ್ಯವಾಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪ್ರಾಡಕ್ಟನ್ನು ನೋಡಿದರೆ ಮಂಗ ಓಡಿ ಹೋಗ್ತವೆ.
Hello everyone, my name is Bhumika S. Ravish. My teammates are Nivedita and Sanjana. Today we would like to present our topic comparative analysis of MOSFET and CNT FETs under the guidance of Dr. Raju Ajare sir. Now coming to the topic, first of all, what is MOSFET? The MOSFET stands for Metal Oxide Semiconductor Field Effect Transistor, and it is also called as Insulated Gate Field Effect Transistor. Now coming to the CNT-FETs. A CNT-FET is nothing but a nanoscale device that can provide low power integrated circuit with high performance and high power density. Now coming to the literature survey, the MOSFET behave abnormally in the nanoscale. The MOSFET turns on at 0 volt below the channel length of the 45 nanometer. This phenomenon is called premature turning on of MOSFET, and the MOSFET face short channel effect below 45 nanometer channel length. To prevent this, new transistor structures were introduced, that is FinFETs, nanowires and CNT-FETs. These limits can be overcome out of this. However, the research is processing towards improving carrier transistor channel region. One possible option is to use carbon nanotubes to realize high channel mobility devices. We can finally overcome out of this challenge. The researchers are able to make confides based devices available. Now, now coming to the methodology, we plotting graphs of CNTFET characteristics and MOSFET characteristics by using Abacus tools available on NanoHub and online simulation of characteristics graph of MOSFET and CNTFET is related.
Coming to the characteristics graph, here we have ID versus VG, that is the drain current versus gate source voltage graph between MOSFET and CNT-FET. Coming to the MOSFET graph, we have mainly three regions, that is the cutoff region, saturation region, and the ohmic region. In the cutoff region, MOSFET is off and it will function as an open switch. In the ohmic region, it is used as an amplifier, and in saturation region, it is used as a switching device. CNT-FETs conduct electrons when a positive bias is applied to a gate and hole. When a negative bias is applied, the drain current increases with increasing magnitude of an applied gate voltage. Like other FETs, the drain current increases with an increasing drain bias unless the applied gate voltage is below the threshold voltage.
Here we'll talk about drain characteristics. Drain characteristics is ID versus VDS. ID is the drain current and VDS is the voltage, drain source voltage. When VDS is increased, the drain current should actually increase, but it is controlled by the VGS when applied. So technically VGS controls the drain current at a certain level. From this we can see that the gate current controls the output drain current, and we can further conclude that MOSFET is a gate voltage control device. On the right, we have a CNT-FET graph of drain characteristics. To understand circuit performance of devices, we need to plot the drain characteristics graph. Here we can see that instead of becoming a linear graph as in case of MOSFET on the left, in the case of CNT-FET, the the graph is gradually increasing. The line slightly slopes upwards. This has really this is really advantageous because it helps in better electrical behavior when compared to MOSFET. So we can see that devices have a significant advantage when we use a CNT-FET graph. Now coming to the applications. There are many applications of CNT-FET. It's used in the field of medicine, information technology, nanorobots, energy, chemistry and environment, consumer goods, military and security applications, and foldable electronics.
Coming to the conclusion that we have derived from this PBL, the MOSFET has become the most important device for the integrated circuit in semiconductor devices. The theme of semiconductor technology is scaling down the size of the transistor and increasing the integration of transistors in a single chip. The advanced semiconductor device has been scaled down to nanoscale, where we have seen that the CNT FETs hold good and work well, and the device size is further shrinking as predicted. In order to make devices available at nanoscale, we must prefer CNT-FETs. These are few papers and articles that we have researched about and reference. Thank you.
So, hello everyone. I, Rohit, along with Anubhav, Purushottam, and Kaushik, have chosen to make a dark sensor. A dark sensor uses a LDR in the circuit to light up the bulb once the ambient light decreases. The main aim of this project is to save the power. We want to save power automatically instead of doing it manually. So it's easy for the cost effectiveness, and we try to solve the problem of wastage of power by creating a smart system which is capable of operating on its own. Now my friend Anubhav will take on from over here.
Here, LDR stands for light dependent resistor or simply photoresistor. The resistance of LDR depends on the intensity or brightness of light incident on it, and the relation is of inverse proportionality. which means that when the intensity of light increases, the LDR's resistance reduces and vice versa. If you reduce the brightness of ambient light, the LDR's resistance increases, resulting in lesser current flowing through the circuit. Exactly the opposite happens when you increase the brightness of ambient light. We could have just used a LDR and a LED, but there are some limitations to it. Like you can't control the brightness at which the LED exactly turns on or off. Also, practically, we would want the LED to turn on when it's dark and turn off when there's enough light. The maximum load that the circuit can drive is also limited. So for these reasons, we move on to a more functional circuit using 2 NPN transistors BC547. Now Kaushik will be explaining why are we using these transistors.
For an NPN transistor, the emitter, the collector are of N junction and the base is of P junction. For the transistor to turn on or to allow current to flow from collector to emitter, the voltage at the base should be above a certain threshold voltage. We used a resistor in series with a LDR to convert the change in resistance of the LDR to change in voltage. This change in voltage at the common point between LDR and resistor is used to trigger the transistor by connecting it to base of the transistor. Now let's see the video of working.
As you can see, once I cover the LED with my palm, the LED light up and remove my palm, the LED doesn't glow. And then some applications are automatic street light control and automatic light control system in industry. Thank you.
Greetings everyone. Myself Ananya MS and my teammates Harshini and Maunika are working on the project named Analysis of EEG based emotion detection under the guidance of Tejaswini ma'am. So first, emotion. Emotion is a strong feeling deriving from one's circumstances, mood, or relationship with the others, and the emotion can be a joy, sadness, fear, disgust, or anger. So this can be detected using EEG and BCI. And nowadays, emotion detection is one among the growing areas in the field of affective computing, in which the interaction between the machines and the individuals can be improved through the change in individuals' inner states. And this emotion detection using EEG signals is advantageous than the other methods. EEG tracks and records the electrical impulses of the neurons in the brain. And uh, BCI, we are here we are using a BCI. So BCI is brain computer interface, which is a direct communication pathway between an enhancer or the wired brain and an external device. And these are often directed at researching, mapping, assisting, or repairing the human sensory motor function. And these are the components of the BCI, which includes the signal acquisition, pre-processing, feature extraction, and so on. And there are many applications of the BCI, which includes some medical application and the prevention of some smoking, alcoholism, and the motion sickness, which is also used in video game like Brain Arena, and it is also used for the purpose of security and authentication.
The EEG signal represent combination of waveform and are generally classified according to their frequency, magnitude, and wave morphology. The most common classification uses EEG waveform frequency band, under which EEG signals can be decomposed within 5 different frequency bands, that is delta, theta, alpha, beta, and gamma waves. To classify EEG data, we use machine learning technique. There are different learning techniques. Currently, SVM, that is support vector machine, artificial neural network, are used to classify EEG data. In order to process the recorded signals, we need to use some softwares as a platform. In this analysis, MATLAB is required. MATLAB is a powerful tool, especially with signal processing toolbox. In order to classify different emotions, we need to record EEG signals from different subjects and then process them to extract different features. MATLAB has functionality to when we simulate this program, the extracted features are obtained in channels, that is according to the column wise. And next comes the applications.
Emotion detection has application in different sectors, for example, retail and education. Education application measures real time of learner responses to and engagement with the education content, adapt and personalize content, and measure effectiveness of lecture. Emotion detection plays an important role in interpersonal relationship. Emotions are reflected from their speeches, hand and gestures of the body and through their facial expressions. EEG enabled music therapy in which music played to patients that help them deal with the problems such as pain and the depression and reference. These are the references we have gone through.
In the modern world, we see the need for a lot of energy. In our attempts to satisfy our needs, we look for creative solutions for energy production. The fulfillment of electrical energy needs today is still based on coal consumption, which is both a non replenishable source and harmful for the environment. Hello, everyone. We, Ananya Patak, Neeraj, Diksha, and Aditya Patil, under the guidance of Dr. Seema Singh, are here to present a project of sound to energy converter. Electricity is something that has become a requirement these days, and we have come up with a technique to obtain it from sound. We can use piezoelectric materials which convert pressure waves into voltage signals. This technique can be used to power battery banks, street lights near traffic signals, and other noisy areas such as airports and many more.
Noise as can be described as unwanted sound waves which are originated by human activities. The sound energy can be utilized to produce electrical energy. After having read multiple research papers written on the related topics, we learned about the relationship between voltage produced and conditions such as frequency, distance from the sensor, etc. Here is a graphic which shows the decibel of sound in our day-to-day activities.
Some crystals possess appropriate charge symmetries. The application of pressure can cause the development of voltage across such crystals. The force applied causes the centers of positive and negative charges in the crystal to separate. This separation of the charges makes the overall crystal produce the voltage. The rest of our circuit traps this voltage and helps us make use of it. Here is the block diagram of how that works.
Eventually amplified signals are passed through rectifiers and regulators to stabilize our output. We have replaced the piezoelectric material here with an AC source and a variable resistor. We are clipping this input signal to obtain a clipped AC voltage, which does not change with change in amplitude. This signal passes through the operational amplifier and the rectifier circuit present to yield a constant output. A capacitor filter is used to eliminate any existing ripples. We are still working on the efficiency and construction of our project and are determined to help people meet their electricity needs while not harming the environment simultaneously. Thank you.
A warm welcome to all. I, Ayush Jaiswal, with my team Ripu Daman Singh Badoria and Suyash Saxena, are working on peak detector circuit using op-amp. Now, op-amp stands for Operational Amplifier, which is an high-gain direct coupled differential amplifier used for mathematical operation such as addition, subtraction, multiplication and division. Now defining peak detector. Peak detector detects and holds the most positive values of attained by the input signal prior to the time when the switch is closed. Now, how does it work? The operation can be explained as follows. Assuming the switch is open if output voltage is less than input voltage. The op amp output V is positive so that the diode conducts and the capacitor charges to the input value at that instant as it forms a voltage follower circuit. Second case, when output voltage is greater than input voltage. Op amp output V is negative and the diode becomes reverse biased. Now let us see some application of peak detector. It is used in ASK demodulation and it is extensively used for low frequency enveloped detection in AM modulation.
Here we set the VE voltage to 15 volts and also the VCC voltage to 15 volts. Now using the oscilloscope we will observe the output. We connect the port A to the output and port B to the input to compare the output and input voltages. The input will be 1 kHz and 5 volt. After we start the simulation, double click on the oscilloscope to observe the output. We will ground the input to observe the output peak value.
As you can see, this is the output peak value. Change the scale per division to 2 volts per division, also the time scale. As you can observe, we have a triangular wave generated. Now convert the input side to the DC so that we can compare the input and output. Change the scale per division to 2 so that both scale per division will be same and we can compare the input and output. We can see that the peak value is same as the peak value of the triangular wave. The channel A value is 5.002 volts whereas the channel B value is 5 volts, which is almost the same. Hence the peak detector works.
Everyone, this is our project name is detection of temperature and humidity using IoT under the guidance of Bhanu Prakash sir. This is the hardware setup of our project. The main objective of our experiment is finding room temperature and humidity, and we are uploading that into the internet. Through the internet, wherever we are there, we can find the temperature and humidity in that particular place. The device which we are using here is Node MCU. In other way we can call it as ESP8266. So this is the particular simple board which is having a microcontroller and a small memory with the inbuilt Wi-Fi facility. Now we'll see the sensor. Which is having a 3 pins. The first one will indicate the voltage, middle one is always indicate the output, and the other one is the ground. We have to connect that to in similar way where I have connected. The output of the white wire is connected to the D3 and black wire is connected to ground. This is red wire indicates the voltage. Next we'll connect the wire to our system. So this is the program of our project. The program we are done using the Arduino version 1.8.8 something. Then we used some codes here. After running this program will get the graphs like this. So this is both are the graphs of temperature and humidity. We'll get the temperature and humidity. We'll get these graphs using ThingSpeak. So this is the temperature and humidity at present time. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. We are Group 8, and I'm Preeti from 3rd Sem ETE, and my group members consist of Roshan, Ashish, and Nikita. And I'm going to take you through the introduction and methodology of the project, which was guided by Siddiq sir, the microcontroller-based dam automation. We all know about the manual supervising of a dam, and this project will take you to the design of the embedded system of the microcontroller dam. Now moving on to the methodology. So this system consists of a set of sensors connected to a stepper motor through an 8-bit microcontroller. The water level is detected based on the feedback from the sensor given using which is implemented using a digital ICs 7404 and 7408. This data is further fed back to the input of the microcontroller, then later on to the stepper motor, which controls the movement of the dam gates. The water level is also shown using a LCD display. So now the requirements. These are the components which we have used in our project. That is the microcontroller, regulator, motor driver, stepper motor, ICs, LCD displays, diodes, resistors, and also two software for the simulation.
Here we are analyzing the water level feedback circuit. The keys here represent the water level in the dam. So when the water in the dam reaches a low level, a low level of output is given in the circuit. Similarly, when the water level increases in the dam, the medium level output and high level is given as shown in the circuit. So when the water level increases in the dam and reaches overflow level, a buzzer is a buzzer goes off as a warning system, and output of overflow is given in the circuit. So these outputs are given to another circuit which will be explained by Roshan.
So welcome. This is the dam-based automation system. Now from the output from the water level feedback system is given over here. So basically when the water level is normal, the LCD displays a water level showing the normal level of the water, and the stepper motor does not turn. But when the water level goes to medium, the stepper motor turns by 120 degree, allowing water to flow freely from the dam. But as the water level increases to high, the stepper motor rotates more, opening the dam more for water level flow. As the water level reaches to overflow, the stepper motor completes its whole 360-degree angle, and lot of water is allowed to flow through the dam. But now as the water level decreases, the stepper motor closes the dam accordingly to the same way it had opened. And when the water level reaches normal, the stepper motor is back to position and the dam gates are closed. All this application is explained by Nikita in the further slide.
So since we use microcontroller, it is restricted to small dams. And this concept is used in automatic opening of gates at home. The water level feedback system can be used in soil moisture sensitivity. Thank you.
A warm welcome to everyone. I, Harshraj, along with my teammates Anupam Srivastava, Anurag Ghosh, and Shubham Chakraborty, under the guidance of Professor Mallikarjun Goda sir, are going to present on the topic Automated Telecommunication Chatbot. Automated Telecommunication Chatbot. A chatbot is a software application used to conduct an online chat conversation via text or text-to-speech in lieu of providing direct contact with a live human agent, designed to convincingly simulate the way a human would behave as a conversational partner. Chatbot systems typically require continuous tuning and testing, and many in production remain unable to adequately converse or pass the industry standard Turing test. Chatbots are used in dialogue systems for various purposes, including customer service, request routing, or for information gathering. While some chatbot applications use extensive word classification processes, natural language processors, and sophisticated AI, others simply scan for general keywords and generate responses using common phrases obtained from an associated library or database. Most chatbots are accessed online via website pop-ups or through virtual assistants. They can be classified into usage categories that include commerce, e-commerce via chat, education, entertainment, finance, health, news, and productivity. So we are trying to make a chatbot which tells the user about various terminologies of telecommunication engineering and can simulate various circuits involved in telecommunication engineering.
Literature survey. Communication through internet is getting popular among the public. Apart from using telephones and sending mails, people can now communicate with each other through chat. It is a technology that supports human-to-human communication over the past few years. There is an increase of trend of communication through internet, through the chat. Through it, people can chat, send messages, images, URL, and files. For example, Yahoo chatbot, which was created in the early 90s, was exclusively available only for Yahoo users. It allows the users to create public chat room, send text messages, and use emotions. But with the advancement of the technology, chatbot in its new form came into the picture. In it, whatsoever is the command given to the chatbot, it will function in accordance with it. So, we are trying to make a chatbot which tells the users about various terminologies of telecommunication engineering and can simulate various circuits involved in telecommunication engineering. Most of the contents and data will be taken from TRI.
Methodology. We began our project by learning HTML and CSS, later on moving to Node.js, which will help us in completion of the backend of our chatbot. Further, we will add common FAQs and deploy the bot to our website, which will be hosted on Azure or Heroku. As we will gain more knowledge, we will upgrade our project by adding circuit simulation and mesh analysis. The requirements for this are HTML, CSS, Node.js, Dialogflow, and Heroku or Azure. So for the applications part, the first is market research. The way market researchers get in touch with respondents is changing, as many respondents may prefer to be contacted on WhatsApp or the Facebook Messenger. Instead of having a dedicated survey app, many research firms are developing chatbots to have personalized, engaging conversational surveys with respondents to improve the experience and increase the completion rate. Second, e-commerce. The e-commerce industry is also improving shopping experience with chatbots. Customer can now search and shop more conveniently with the help of chatbots. eBay has invested in chatbot technology with their ShopBot, a virtual shopping assistant that helps customers find the items they want at desired price range. The third is legal industry. Chatbots have also shown their practicality in the legal industry as well. They are a great way of optimizing work processes to save both lawyers and their clients time and money. Montreal-based law firm Axio launched a smart virtual assistant called IVA to help future immigrants. IVA, Immigration Virtual Assistant, makes the process of immigration most easier and less stressful. The fourth is companionship. Russian technology company Endurance developed its companion chatbot for senior people and patients with Alzheimer's disease. The primary function of the chatbot is to be a virtual companion, to speak with senior people on general topics like weather, nature, hobbies, movies, music, news, etc. The chatbot asks questions, react to the answers, can speak on various topics, and share interesting news and facts from Google. The fifth is content delivery. Media publishers have realized that chatbots are a powerful way to engage with their audiences and monitor engagement to gain valuable insights on reader interest. Chat with the CNN and Wall Street Journal chatbots and Facebook Messenger and receive the latest news directly in Messenger without having to visit their websites. The references we have taken up, one from LT Spice and second the virtual lab.
This is the prototype of the bot in which we are working on. In this bot, there are three commands. Before using command, you have to use prefix question mark. The three commands are question mark help. In this command, if you don't know anything about this chatbot, it will show another other commands how to use it. So other command is question mark list, and after that you have to mention the number of a list you want to see, like list 4. So this is the set of questions, and if you want to select a particular question, you have to type question mark req and the question number. After that, it will show the answer of the question. Now I will show you the website in which we will host our chatbot. Let me give you a little walkthrough what we have done here. So in this, as you can see, we done something like parallax effect. In this, we use something positioning and little JavaScript using CSS. After that, there is a small code we used. In this, we use an animation effect using CSS and JavaScript. And this is the two project we have showcase. We have showcase which we have done in the quarantine. Let's talk about the effect we used in this showcase. We use jQuery and CSS and JavaScript. We use position effect and vertical effect both to circulate this image, and this particle is mainly done by jQuery. And this is the motto of our team which we follow.
This call is now being recorded.
Good morning. Our project name is cell phone charger circuit design done by Darshan Kamath and Shreyas TR from Telecom Department. Mobile phones generally charge with 5-volt regulated DC supply. So basically we are going to build a 5-volt regulated DC supply from 220 AC. This DC supply can be used to charge mobiles as well as the power source of digital circuits, breadboard circuit, ICs, microcontroller, etc. The circuit mainly consists a step-down transformer, a full-wave bridge rectifier, and a 5-volt voltage regulator. We can divide this circuit into 4 parts.
The first part is step down DC voltage. Step down DC voltage, as we are converting 220 volt into 5 volt DC, we need a step down transformer to reduce such high voltage. Here we are using a 9091 amps step down transformer which converts 220 voltage AC to 9 volts AC. In the transformer there are primary and secondary coils which step up or step down the voltage according to the number of turns in the coil. The voltage rating should be more than the required voltage. Means if we need 5 volt DC transformer, 5 volt DC transformer should at least have a rating of 7 volt because the voltage regulator IC at least need 2 volt more.
The second part is rectification. Rectification is the process of removing the negative part of the alternate current, hence producing the partial DC. This can be achieved by using 4 diodes. Diodes only allow current to flow in the one direction. In first half cycle of AC diode, D2 and D3 are forward biased and D1 and D4 are reverse biased, and in the second half cycle D1 and D4 are forward biased and D2 and D3 are reverse biased. The combination converts the negative half cycle into positive. A full wave bridge rectifier component is available in the market which consists that combination of 4 diode internally. Here we have used these components. This is the waveform of full wave bridge rectifier.
The third step is filtration. The output after the rectification is not a proper DC. It is oscillation output and has a very high ripple factor. We don't need that pulsating output. For this we use a capacitor. Capacitor charge till the waveform goes to its peak and discharge into load circuit. When waveform goes low, so when output is going low, capacitor maintains the proper voltage supply into the load current, hence creating the DC. Now, how the value of this filter capacitor should be calculated? The formula used here is C is equals to I into T by V, where C is the capacitance to be calculated, I is the maximum output current, which is considered as 500 milliamps, and T is 10 milliseconds. These are the steps required for calculating the capacitance value for our circuit. This is the waveform which we get after the filtration is done.
The next part is voltage regulation. A voltage regulator IC7805 is used to provide a regulated 5 volt DC. Input voltage should be 2 volts more than the rated output voltage for proper working of IC. Means at least 7 volts is needed, although it can operate in input voltage range of 7 to 20 volts. Voltage regulators have all the circuitry inside it to provide a proper regulated DC. Capacitor of 0.01 should be connected to the output of 7805 to eliminate the noise produced by transient changes in voltage. This is the waveform for regulation.
This is a circuit which we are going to stimulate in the multisim and show the output. Thank you.
This call is now being recorded.
Hi, good morning. My name is Darashriha, and my two mates are Madhuri and Vachana, and we're doing a project on IoT-based well weather reporting under the guidance of Professor Siddiq Iqbal sir. And what is an IoT? IoT is an Internet of Things, is a network of physical devices, home appliances, vehicles, and other items embedded with electronics and software, sensors, actuators, and connectivity, which enables these things to connect, exchange data, creating opportunities for more direct integration of the physical world into the computer-based systems, resulting in efficiency of improvement, economic benefits, and reduce human nature when the innovations in technology mainly focus on controlling and monitoring in different activities. These are increasingly emerging to reach the human needs. Most of this technology is focused on efficient monitoring and controlling different activities. An efficient and environmental monitoring system is required to monitor and assess the conditions in case of exceeding the prescribed level of parameters. And when it comes to a literature survey, IoT involves extending internet connectivity beyond standard devices on desktops, laptops, smartphones, and other devices to any range of traditionally dumb or non internet enabled physical devices and everyday objects. Embedding with technology, these devices can communicate and interact over the internet, and they can be remotely monitored and controlled with the arrival of driverless vehicles. A branch of IoT, that is the Internet of Vehicles, starts to gain more attention. The technology behind this is Internet of Things, which is an advanced and efficient solution for connecting the things to the internet and to connect the entire world of things in a network. Here, things might be whatever like electronic gadgets, sensors, and automotive electronic equipment. And objectives, my friend will say you.
Yes, hello everyone. This project is usually designed to collect data from various vehicles on road or moving vehicles, which wirelessly communicate with weather and road conditions that like air temperature, barometer, pressure, visibility, etc. Generally, this device will be required to have long operational lifetime. They don't need manual monitoring all the time. And especially battery replacement is very expensive, so this can be eliminated because it degrades the environment and most often not even feasible. It is also helpful for smart city makers to take decisions that facilitates the living conditions of inhabitants. The first step of this is to devise an organized wireless network to monitor real-time environmental parameters such as temperature, humidity, etc. in remote areas and especially.
In IoT-enabled weather monitoring system project, Arduino Uno measures four weather parameters using four sensors. The sensors are temperature sensor, humidity sensor, light sensor, and rain level sensor. These four sensors are directly connected to the Arduino Uno since it is inbuilt analog to digital converter. The Arduino calculates and displays the weather parameters on LCD display. Then it sends the parameter to the internet using that is IoT technique. The process of sending data to the internet using Wi-Fi is repeated after the constant time interval. Then the user needs to visit a particular website to view the data. The project connects and stores the data on the web server. Thus, user gets live reporting of the weather. Internet connectivity of internet connection with Wi-Fi is compulsory in this IoT weather forecasting monitoring project. These are the requirements, hardware components. We use ESP8266, breadboard, DST11 sensor, light dependent resistor, LED resistor of 10K and 1K ohms, and male to male jumper wires. Arduino software, we use Arduino Embedded C, block diagram. This is the block diagram in which we have made this circuit and application Madhuri will continue.
Yes. When it comes to application of this project, it is very useful for farmers. The weather forecasting plays a very important role in the field of agriculture. And this project also helps for monitoring weather at places like volcano, rainforest. It is quite difficult for humans to stay for a long time at such places or even areas where radioactivity is exposed. As Arduino has 5 analog inputs, we can add a fifth parameter, that is weather monitoring. And these are the references which is used. Thank you.
Hello everyone, myself Navyashri, Akanksha and Tanushri are working for a project called Sensor-Based Control of Compost Machine under the guidance of Dr. Seema Singh. With the world population increasing, the amount of waste generated also increases. To deal with this increase in waste, waste management is necessary. Here depicts an image where Bangalore residents are supposed to pay an amount of Rs 200 for garbage collection from January 2021. It's not a problem of Bangalore only. Every big cities face the problem of garbage. In fact, cities like Mumbai face more severe level of garbage problem than Bangalore. The main reason for this issue is high and dense population. Since lack of people live in a small locality, disposal of waste has become a big problem. Due to this problem, we have come up with this project. Further, Tanushree will proceed.
After reviewing several papers and reports, most of them are focusing on the reduction of the waste by composting. But composting is a process that requires continuous monitoring because if ignored, the compost will not be produced. Usually, it was done by humans as they check the compost every now and then. Using the advancement of technology, the system design eliminates the interference of humans by taking care of all the parameters by introducing microcontroller that provides necessary actions to make it a completely automated process which is simple and affordable to develop. Here are the hardware requirements. Owner or switch for schedule, ESP32 microcontroller, DHT11 temperature and humidity sensor, HCSR04 ultrasonic sensor, relay, 9-volt adapter, 1440 RPM motor, a traffic plates. Software compiler is Arduino IDE. Now Akanksha will continue.
Here is a project prototype. The project prototype is divided into three phases. In phase 1, collection of waste in a 20 kg bin is done, shedding and waste reduction by 5%. In phase 2, the waste is transferred into the composting bin. Waste reduction is by 60%. Liquid manure discharge is of 2 to 3 liters. Here shows the prototype circuit with LCD module display, moisture and temperature sensor, node MCU with a 12-volt batteries. Motor starts when certain temperature or moisture level is attained and the shaft starts turning. In phase 3, compost drying and formation of granules is done. Waste reduction is by 10%. By the time bin 1 is full, the second bin is completes the process. The bin 2 is now ready. Liquid discharge during the process is extracted from the tab below the bin. After composting the bin, the compost is complete and can be taken out from the bin. Here are the applications of our project. Thank you.
This call is now being recorded.
A warm welcome to each one of you. This is a research-based project on single electron transistor by Naividya Mohanty, Nishkala BK, Vandana SH under the guidance of Dr. Raju Hazare.
Transistors are the basic building blocks of all the electronic systems. They have shaped the modern world. The dimensions of these transistors have shrunk to incredibly small size. That means we are talking about nanotechnology. Single electron transistor is the most fundamental three-terminal single electron device which offers low power consumption and high operating speed.
During our research, we found this paper from Military Institute of Science by MZ Azhan, where we got abundant information about SET. In today's world, the best alternative for MOSFETs is SET.
So what exactly is a SET? SET is a three-terminal device in which only one electron flows through the quantum dot at a time. We'll be explaining the construction and the working of SET in detail going forward.
So here are some terms you have to be familiar with. Those are quantum tunneling, quantum dot, gate source voltage, and column blockade.
The construction part of SET goes as follows. SET, it's a three-terminal device which consists of source, drain, and gate, and it works on the principle of column blockade and quantum dot effect. The SET consists of a metallic island placed between two tunneling junctions connected to a drain and a source and has a gate electrode as in a normal FET transistor. The tunneling junctions are simply a thin oxide layer between the island and the electrodes.
The quantum dot is a really crucial part of this whole device. The quantum dot is an island of semiconducting matter. This is made up of materials like aluminum arsenide or germanium arsenide. This acts like a tiny capacitor, and we know that the energy stored in a capacitor is given by Q square by 2C, where Q square is the charge and C is the capacitance. Here, the charge we know is the charge on an electron. So now the energy stored in this particular quantum dot is going to be equal to E square by 2C. This energy is stored in the quantum dot. Now, for an electron to pass from source into the quantum dot, we need to apply enough voltage to overcome that energy between the source and the quantum dot, which is known as the Coulomb blockade. After we put enough voltage at the gate and the Coulomb blockade breaks down, only we put enough voltage only for one electron to pass. So after the Coulomb blockade breaks down, only one electron comes into the quantum dot. After it's there in the quantum dot, the voltage at the quantum dot increases, and now the electron is going to flow from a higher potential at the dot to the drain. So it flows from a higher potential to the lower potential into the drain. This same process repeats again, and the next electron follows the same path, and hence the current flows in the device.
So this is the IV characteristics of SET. As my friend told, we need a minimum threshold energy of E square by 2C for the electron to hop from source to drain, from source to quantum dot. When the electron hops, we see the current flow.
Here are a few differences or reasons why SET is better than MOSFETs.
Methodology. Since it's a nanoscale device, there are no enough tools to simulate SET, but we analyze the behavior of this device to the transfer characteristics graph and by using the parameter transconductance, which tells us how fast the device can switch off or on.
The application of SET is very much useful in today's world and for the future. The main application of SET opens path for quantum computing, and many other applications are charge sensor, super-sensitive electrometer, detection of infrared radiation, and ultra-sensitive microwave detector.
So what we conclude from our research is that SET is a highly sensitive device, and it is really fast and uses very low power consumption. It has very low power consumption. When I say it is highly sensitive, we find out this is due to the nature of a single electrons transformation, and it is a fast switching device because it operates highly on how sensitive it is, so it is very fast. And SET has proved its value as tools in scientific research. The resistance of SET is determined by electron tunneling, and the capacitance depends upon the size of nanoparticle. The main problem in nanometer era is the fabrication of a nanoscale device. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This call is now being recorded.
Hello everyone, myself Prajwal from 3rd Sem ET branch. So now we are going to do a small project using an application. So now our topic is stimulation of C amplifier circuit using PSpice, submitted by Abhishek, Narendra and myself under the guidance of Mallikarjun sir. So generally, what is C amplifier? So C amplifier is 3 basic single stage bipolar junction transistor, and it is generally used as a voltage amplifier. It is most frequently used in configuration in practical amplifier circuits. So it is most widely used because it provides a good voltage gain. So generally known as the voltage divider biasing. So we have taken the input as base terminal, output as collector. Output is collected from the collector terminal. Emitter terminal is common for both the terminals. So this is the general C amplifier circuit. where R1 and R2 are the resistor chosen to give a proper biasing voltage. RA is the resistor used for thermostability. RL is the resistor used at the output. C1 is the capacitor used to separate the AC signal from the DC biasing voltage and is known as the coupling capacitor. C2 is used to block DC signals. So from here, my friend Abhishek will take over.
Yeah. Hello guys. We are going to design the above circuit using the software tool known as PSlice. Here we have designed the same circuit using the PSlice, and then we will stimulate for the above shown values. On stimulation, we will get an output graphs. These are the two expected output graphs. One is the transistor response, another one the frequency response. In the first one, transistor response, the red line indicates the input voltage and the blue line indicates the output voltage. And between these two input and output voltages, there is an exactly 180 degree of phase shift. This is 180 degree of phase shift is just because of increase in the current as the biasing voltage increases. And now due to this increase in the current, there will be a decrease in the output voltage as the voltage across the collector increases. And now we are going to discuss some applications or advantages of this circuit. It is used in a RF circuit and it is used as a current amplifier just due to more current gain. The same amplifier is used in radio frequency transistor circuits and it is most commonly used in low noise amplifiers. And now we are going to the stimulation part, which will be shown by another member of our team.
Yeah, myself Narendra, and where now I am showing you the making of an CE amplifier, amplifier circuit and its stimulations. Yeah, this is the circuit which we have got, and we have used an 6 resistance and an amplifier and a capacitors. Capacitor where we use these capacitors for to purify and the DC signals. And after stimulation, we have an two graphs called, one is a frequency response graph and another transient graph. When where I'm showing the graph, where this is the frequency response graph which we have got, and then the next graph is the transient graph. Transient graph. This is the transient graph which we have got, and where the red line indicates the input and green light indicates the output. Yeah, thank you.
So hello everyone, me Sukhad and two of my friends, that is Alfred and Anirudh, and we are from third sem electronics telecommunication department. So we have chosen a project that is gas sensing and prevention alarm system. So under the guidance of Saumeshri ma'am. So I would like to give a little introduction on this project. Gas leakage leads to various accidents resulting in like the both material loss and human injuries. The reason for such explosion is due to substandard cylinders or old valves or worn out regulator and lack of awareness in handling gas cylinder. So the LPG or propane is flammable mixture of hydrocarbon gases which are used as a fuel. So due to the explosion of LPG, the number of deaths has been increased in recent year. So to avoid this problem, there is a need of a system to detect leakage of LPG. So and my friend Alfred will explain the block diagram.
Okay, so in this circuit, we've actually used four basic components. One is an LPG gas sensor, Arduino Uno, a buzzer, and an LCD screen. So this LPG gas is
the input in this circuit, and it senses if there is any presence of any gas around it. And then when it senses the gas, it sends an information or a message to the Arduino Uno, which has been programmed with a code. And then the output is shown on the LCD screen and buzzer. The LCD displays a message based on the information sent by the sensor. If it has detected the presence of some kind of gas, it says alert and evacuate, following which the buzzer generates a beep sound. So this application is used in a lot of industries when it comes to the hotel industry, or when it comes to chemical laboratories and places like that. So now my friend Ani will demonstrate how it works.
So I'm just gonna demonstrate this, but before I'm just gonna tell how it works. So gas sensor is a device which detects the presence or concentration of gases in the atmosphere. So based on the concentration of the gas sensor, it produces a corresponding potential difference by changing the resistance of the material inside the sensor, which can be measured as the output voltage. So I'm just gonna show how it works. I'll show the code before. So this is our code. It is in C language. It can be understood by everyone. So just start a simulation. So yeah, now you can see a message displaying that safe all clear with a green LED bulb. So I'm just gonna bring a gas near to the sensor. So the white color is our gas sensor. I'm just gonna bring the gas near to it. So as you saw, there was a loud beep sound with a message displaying alert, please evacuate, and with red LED on. So this is our project, and we have improvisations in future, which we're gonna add some GSM modules which gonna send messages to the owner of the particular house or that industry, telling that there's a gas leakage, please fix it. Or if the owner is not in town or is outside, he can't come back so fast. So we thought of adding an automatic switch. If the gas is leaked for more than 20 to 30 seconds, it should automatically turn off. So that's what we have thought about the future. So yeah, that's our project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Stop the recording.
Okay, good morning to one and all present here. Myself Indrakshi, my teammates Jayashri, Thanushri. Under the guidance of Tejas Cinema, we are doing a project based on a novel algorithm to detect stress using EEG signals. So I would be talking about the brain-computer interface. Coming to the introduction, what is brain-computer interface? It is a technology which allows a human to control a computer and other electronic devices with a thought. And this is done using electrodes to detect the electrical signals in the brain, and then that is fed to a computer. Then the computer translates these electrical signals into a data, which is used to control a computer. So what is BCI? And it is a direct communication pathway between the brain and an electrical signals, and the signals are read from the brain and then translated into a digital form. This is how BCI would be working. This is based on the stress. Joshua would be talking about the stress induced in the laboratories.
So stress can be induced in the laboratories in two ways. The first one is Stroop color white test. So it is a reliable method that has been used in a laboratory to induce stress to the subject. And the second way would be explained by Tanushri.
Yeah, mental arithmetic test. In this, the main aim is to present study is to collect the electrical activity of the brain using EEG data from subjects performing cognitive workload tasks, and the program will be executed by Indrakshi.
Okay, I would be talking about the database we have been collected and how the program we have executing. We have been doing this with using the MATLAB software, and the data we collected was in the PhysioNet, in which the EEG signals were recorded monopolarly, that is using single electrodes, using Neurocom WEG23 channel system. And the silver to silver chloride electrodes were used, and the notch filter was used to attenuate the signals within a narrow band of frequencies. Under this, we had 35 subjects in which uh, the data with the suffix 1 were the recordings of the background EEG of a subject, that is before mental arithmetic task, and then the subjects with the suffix 2 were the recording of EEG during the mental arithmetic task going on. So there was group G and group B, in which group G were of 24 subjects and performing good quality, and group B of 12 subjects performing a bad quality. And the data format we extracted was in the EDF format, that is European data format, and this is the program that we would be using for our project and extracting the output from it. I would run the program and show the output we get here. The n equals to 9100 is the rows, that is the data, and the number of channels, that is 22, that is the columns over here. The data we extract are in the matrices format. We are still exploring on this, and we would be further continuing with the same program. Thank you.